Hey there, I'm Dean Walker, and I'm founder of a little organization here on the interwebs called Living Resilience. And the vision or mission of Living Resilience is to provide transformative support, resources, and practices to people bravely facing human-caused collapse of Earth and human systems. Yeah, that's probably just barely under the wire for an elevator pitch. We do have a shorter version, and that is living resilience, profound resources facing predicament. So what we do here in Living Resilience is come together at a number of different levels. There are indeed a number of different levels at which a person can approach our current global predicament. And we pride ourselves on being able to offer a number of valuable resources and support for people who particularly are new to this whole idea of the global level, extinction level, predicament level concerns that we have going on. And this particular course that you are now a number of steps into is called Collateral Beauty. It is the most current iteration of our introductory course to grappling with this global predicament. And the precursor was called Dancing at the Edge, and we found it fairly successful. I think we had a pretty strong response to it, but there seems to be a constant need or desire to be able to have a less content heavy course to be able to be functional for people with our, all of us have full plates in our lives. So we've winnowed away as much as we possibly can in terms of the amount of material that we offer, and especially these introductory courses. We've also found that there are a number of new concerns or new levels of engagement for people that weren't present, weren't an issue even just a couple of years ago. So we've done our best to update this coursework, and so we hope that you'll find it useful and current as you explore these 5 different sections. Most people will take about a week with each of the sections of this Collateral Beauty course. And this particular video is just meant to be a brief introduction to how best to approach this thing. So just so you have a little sense of the layout of each week's material, how you might best engage with that material, how to set yourself up to have as rich and as fulfilling an experience as possible. That's certainly what we would enjoy providing for you. One of the first things I'd like to mention is that we're including a number of other content providers who are in their own way bringing their kind of wisdom, their perspective to how to best resource ourselves as we all step together into this rather daunting future. We'll be reflecting off of the work of Carolyn Baker, who's easily the most prolific author in this space, in this collapse-aware and collapse-acceptant space. And her most recent book, Undaunted, will be responding to that. And in Carolyn's way of speaking about the kind of work that we do here is that she calls them fierce practices. at the end of each of the chapters of Undaunted, she talked about and offered us suggestions for fierce practices. Now, those are written prompts in a book, and that's just great. There's far more than what's been offered in most books of this type up to this point. So we are happy to be working off of that. There's another author that content creator in this space at a remarkably high level, and that's Margaret Wheatley, who is a long-standing organizational development consultant and author, and she has shifted her work away from the corporate space to be more involved with people from all walks of life, and she calls her work becoming warriors of the human spirit. And she speaks about the development of inner skills, particularly developing a more robust inner awareness of the kinds of triggers, the kinds of default, often self-sabotaging mechanisms that we're all saturated in, because we're all coming from the business as usual paradigm. So that is much of her work as she develops what she calls the warriors of the human spirit, in developing that warrior level inner awareness. So again, these are similar words for what we do, I believe, at a much more experiential level. So I'm about to describe a little bit of that and how that's reflected in each of the 5 sections of this introductory course. The last group that I would like to suggest, not only engaging with just in this conversation and for comparison, but also for anyone who's looking for a structured support group environment. They have one of the most, I think, easy to engage with support group structures that I've seen in this space. It's the Good Grief Network. And the Good Grief Network offers a 10-step structure for their support group, a particular number of weeks for a series of support group meetings, and each one having a theme. One of the themes of the 10 weeks of their series is to do inner work. So much like the Carolyn Baker fierce practices or the enhanced self-awareness work of the warriors of the human spirit with Meg Wheatley, Good Grief Network has their own way of saying it, their own way of prompting it and suggesting it for the folks who are in their support group series. I am bringing these all up because this is exactly where our work starts, and then it goes deeper and deeper into that direction of an experiential, somatics-based, embodiment-based learning and growing and expansion of capacities that each of those folks that I was just mentioning is mentioning in their own way. Ours, I believe, are just a track of deepening at remarkable levels, starting with the Collateral Beauty Introductory Course. You'll get quite a bit of that embodied and somatic and deeply experiential kind of a running start to that kind of development of those skills and those experiences. So let's talk just a little bit about how this course is structured. Again, there are 5 sections of it, and that it's originally intended to be a week per section. Some people actually choose to take longer than that and really slow down and really experience and give themselves a chance to dive in and experience at a deeper level. Of course, you can do more. You can go faster than that if you'd like, binge watch, if you will. But I think you'll find that the pacing of about a week per section is about the minimum that I would suggest for this work. What you're going to find when you dive into each of the sections is each one has a main section, which is some distinctions, some teaching pieces, and some, you'll actually see a few clips from recorded versions of our live online version of this course, which we're intending to offer at least once, perhaps twice a year. All the rest of the experiential version of this will be only in the recordings only version of this work, which is what you're experiencing right now. So again, there's a main meeting space. That's the first recording that you're going to come into. Then with that, partnered up with it, is the experiential learning, the embodied learning section. And each of those will be quite unique. And I strongly recommend at least viewing that at least one time for each of those sections, each of those weekly sections. Ideally, if you can do it more than once during each of those weeks, with each of those particular lessons, embodied lessons, I would greatly suggest it and appreciate it. What you're going to find after that is varies a little bit per each week. There will be an emphasis. You'll see right away what the emphasis is going to be. And so there will be some kind of source material. And again, I just recommend that you'll just see it off the menu, and there you go. What I'm hoping will be as valuable and as inspiring for you as it has been for me has been to include some poetry, some music, even some sing-alongs, which may seem crazy, but I'm just a huge fan of singing with other people. And since we're in so much of an online environment, you will encounter that and you'll have that opportunity. And I just strongly suggest going for it. For some people, this is embarrassing and weird, and I'm not a singer and so on. I'm not either. Nobody wants to hear me sing. But I have rarely been so consistently inspired and felt a sense of inner embodied coherence as when I sing with others, even if it's off of a recording in a part of a course. So you'll see that and you'll engage with it as much as you do. And I invite you to just go for it. There's another piece in addition to the 5 sections of the course. There's another piece after that. There'll probably end up being a couple of extra sections that are completely optional. This one is for those who want a little bit more detail, a little bit more information or experience with regard to a certain topic that was covered in one of the earlier sections. So that we call it the long form resources section. And it'll be self-explanatory. You'll be able to check it out. It's in menu form, just like the other sections. And I'm hoping that you're going to find some stuff there that you'll want to deep dive into. And there's going to be a lot of really, for me, very, very useful, like core material for in that long form resources section. There's another really important piece here that we've been developing for the past couple of years, and that is our online community space. Chances are you're already a member at the free new member level. And there's a lot, there's a lot to enjoy in that community space. Probably one of the most important pieces is there's a private social media or a sharing space where you can share with other people, either in the home space, kind of the open space where everybody in the community, in the online community space, everybody can meet in that central space. There's also a specific group, a special focus group for collateral beauty, for this introductory course group. And it's always going to be infusing with new people who are going to be coming in, people who've been at it for a few weeks and so on, and people like myself who linger in there even long after I've experienced the course itself. So I hope you will really avail yourself of the special focus groups that are really, they're continually growing. We have one for conscious parenting in these times. We have another one for studying the shadow dynamics that are present at the individual and collective level. There are a number of special focus groups, and I hope you'll check them out and join up with whatever ones spark you in a good way. I think one last thing that I would mention is you'll be getting this admonition a few times, and I think it's one of the most important things that I could offer from my own experience of experiencing this work and then designing this work for to offer to others, is that this is really the most remarkable time in human history. This is the most challenging conversation to be engaged with in human history. And I know of no more important core practice to start with as you develop, as you curate your own practices of recentering and reconnection in your own path. And that is to take your time here. Please give yourself the time to sink into a bit, to embody the fullness of the experience of each element. For instance, with grief, uh, mostly in our culture, we don't do grief real well. And what I think you're going to find here is there are numerous opportunities to be able to explore various threads of how different cultures, different groups, different teachers, and so on, how they metabolize grief in their world. And there are some really fulfilling practices that are available here. That's just one of a number of different topics that are really worthy of taking your time, slowing down, and really feeling into a particular topic, area of study, area of practice. So, I guess the very last thing I would offer is please don't stay alone in this space any longer than you really need to or want to. What I mean by that is if there's a way to bring along others from your life, friends or family or associates, to participate with you in parallel with this coursework, and to be able to meet up with them and to have good conversations about whatever the chapter is, the section that you're involved with, the topic that's sparking you in whatever way it is. It is just so important to find our people, find kindred spirits with whom we can explore this depth of material. You're also so welcome to contact myself and other folks who have been around this conversation for quite some time. Please reach out. We'll have our contact information in the show notes of this particular video. And in all the lessons, we'll have access to how to contact people if you have questions, you have concerns. There are resources, and especially if you're finding it difficult to get through some of the more challenging feelings and emotions that can be involved with this deep work. Um, we hope you will reach out. Feel free to do that, and hopefully reach out and connect with people to find those kindred spirits with whom you could walk this path. So thank you so much for taking part in this Collateral Beauty introductory course here in Living Resilience. Look forward to seeing you in some of our gatherings, and thank you so much for bringing yourself, presencing yourself in this work.